Good evening, everyone, and welcome to night 3 of Diddy or Didn't He here on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. I am Pugs Moran from The Rant, talk radio for normal people, we like to say. It's lifestyle and hot topic conversation without all the political nonsense. The Rant every afternoon since 2021, right here on the Radio Misfits.com podcast network. All right. This is night 3. And the first night, I was joined by what we're going to be calling on these shows. And by the way, we pledged you to do a show every single night. With a fine-tooth comb, we're going to go over all the sordid details here in the Sean Diddy Combs trial in New York City. The first night was the panel show. That's hopefully, we're going to keep this crew together for the run of this trial. It was myself. It was Headcrack from Dish Nation, which is what is that show? I don't know. It's a show he's been on TV. It's a nationwide TV show. He's important. He's also a very, very well-regarded voice in the world of urban radio, so it's always a pleasure to have him with us. Crack couldn't be with us tonight. It's because it's his kid's birthday, but that's okay. In his place, we do have the other piece of this bandbox. He is, of course, from WBAP Radio here in Dallas, Fort Worth, the afternoon superstar himself. Look at him. He's James Parker. There he is. James, Crack ain't with us tonight. Crack's kid's having a birthday, so we're going to handle this little panel show, just the two of us.
How dare he have a birthday?
Well, you know, we're all dads, so we understand that. Kids, having kids, that's one of the things that I don't think that, well, maybe they do. When you have a kid, oh my God, you've given yourself a built-in excuse to get out of stuff. You just, you don't want to do something. Some guy wants you to do something. Your kid's got a recital.
Yeah, no, it's their birthday. They don't know when your kid's birthday is. I have 4 kids. I barely remember their birthday.
Yeah, you do. You got a lot of kids. That's got to get pretty tough. I got to remember 2 birthdays in my life, my mom and my kid, and that's it. And I do a pretty good job with those. June 23rd and May 11th. And I just cleared one for the year. It's May 14th. I just cleared the May 11th one for the year. So now all I got to do is nail my mom's birthday on the 23rd. And I'm golden, James. You got 4 kids. That's got to make you a little anxious.
Yeah, a lot of money in gifts.
I bet. Speaking of a lot of money in gifts, that sounds like you're talking about the lifestyle of one of America's preeminent hip-hop impresarios. We're talking about Sean Diddy Combs. The first day was Monday. We had a nice little panel discussion. We kind of set the tone for what we are going to be doing here on Diddy or Didn't He. Last night was a solo show. We're going to do these from time to time. These are days when there's just a whole lot of information and we want to get it out because on the one hand, we're hoping that this show turns into a nice listen, a nice hang, just people talking about something that we're all interested in. But on the other hand, I do want this show in all regards to be informative. So I myself am taking copious notes. I'm following this damn trial blog by blog, tweet by tweet. James, are you having difficulty at all following this since it's not on television? I think maybe we got a little bit spoiled with some of the higher profile cases that have been on television.
Well, no, I actually prefer to read other people's summaries because it's quicker. I don't have to sit there and watch 6 hours of something. I can go read from like 2 different people. And the important part is like, where did these 2 people disagree? And then I have to go look something up. But this is probably how I would consume the trial, even if it was on video.
Yeah, I don't know. I see your point there because I am really enjoying. There's a number of people who I'm following on Twitter and Instagram, but for the most part, all the heavy lifting is being done by the New York Post. The New York Post has some people who are embedded in the courtroom, and with every word that's spoken, they are blogging it out. So there is a live blog on the New York Post website that gives you everything that's mentioned in court. It's a lot of reading. But I'm telling you, it's fascinating stuff, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it.
Well, and they're going through a lot of grocery bags, too.
So again, James's theory that courtroom sketch artists, they do all of their drawings on the back of brown paper grocery bags. Where are they getting these grocery bags, James? I haven't seen a grocery store use a grocery bag like that in 20 years. They're all plastic bags now.
No, not all of them. Sometimes they have like a little place underneath where you can pull out the old grocery bags. But like down here in downtown Dallas, they all have it because people carry their groceries a lot.
Right.
But if you go out to Buck Tussle, you'll still see the old brown grocery bag. There was a kitschy little grocery store by my house in New Orleans, Dornax. Remember that place? They still had the brown grocery bags.
Dornax. No, I do not remember
It's
Dornax.
a grocery store. It's the weirdest grocery store. It's like, what if we made a caricature of what we think a New Orleans grocery store would be? And it's this. They play like really loud music and they have like a bar in the front. And yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that like out there in Bug Tussle, as you call it, the rural areas of East Texas where you tend to call home, it would make sense because it's still like the 70s there, right? It's like, well, what is it in with Tyler where you live? 1979, 80? Is it 1980 yet out there?
I'm wearing jams and an OP tank top under this. Yeah.
Oh, so you're late 80s. Oh, very good. Oh, nice. I didn't expect that. All right. What do you say we get in? We say we get into some of this coverage here of today's trial. It was day 2 of Cassie Ventura, the prosecution's star witness, taking the stand. Cassie, well, you and I haven't spoke since yesterday. So is there anything from yesterday that you want to address? Because there were a lot of, shall we say, explicit details dropped during yesterday's trial.
Well, this is going to be a bold statement coming from me. Because if you have out freaked me or like our friend Eric, or something like that, like you've really gone pretty far. Because I'm a pretty libertarian, even libertine kind of guy. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to have all kinds of like racy sexual stuff. Like Cassie's probably going to have like multiple threesomes and maybe it'll be with like dudes and chicks and there'll be like drugs involved. And we are way past that. Like we're like, that's not fun. That's not fun. No, that's not. That doesn't make the story better. That isn't hot. I wouldn't like to see this depicted in a movie. In fact, if this was a movie, I wouldn't watch it. I would like skip forward, maybe past this part with the little fast forward 30 seconds button a couple times until that goes away. Because I'm not down with all the fluids.
Yeah, no, this is, if this were a movie, this would be in like the human centipede category of movies. This would not be a thing that would be a pleasure to watch. And I am with you because I had anticipated that there was going to be some salacious details, some real like, ooh, sexy stuff, right? Now, I also knew that this is serious, that there is serious charges here. But it doesn't stop us. I mean, we're gossip hounds. We're American talk show hosts. We basically look for whatever the most interesting conversation is. So I was hoping there would be some good, sexy details. And oh my God, on yesterday's show, I think I wrote a little thing on Twitter. I said, guys, after day 2 of this Diddy trial, I'd love to tell you to stick around because it's going to get weird. But that ship has sailed. It got weird from the very first day when they brought out that male prostitute, Philip Daniel. It was weird. But then yesterday, they bring out Cassie Ventura. She's the epicenter of this whole case. She's the woman that is bringing the most credible charges, I guess, against Diddy. She's got the evidence, and she's the star witness.
Is that your kid?
8.5 months pregnant. They are trotting this 8.5 months pregnant woman up there on the stand. She's telling the most explicit details about her insanely perverse early 20 lifestyle. I mean, and she's pregnant. Can we just talk about that? Can we talk about how hamstrung now? Today, and we're going to get into everything that she said today, but tomorrow she is going to be on the stand again. The prosecution is going to wrap up their whatever they call it, their time with Cassie. And then the defense, okay? The defense is going to cross-examine this 8-month pregnant woman. The cross-examination, now typically you need to dismantle somebody like Cassie Ventura after telling. You need to try and destroy her reputation. You need to try and make it like she was, just as promiscuous and just as down for all of this gross stuff that's got people appalled. You need to do that to her. I don't know how you do that to a pregnant woman in front of the jury, James.
The level of, I don't know, perversion here hurt your credibility. It shouldn't, but it does. So I think the more they push into that, us normal people who aren't into all that stuff. If I want my wife to, get her jollies, I don't need to call 3 male prostitutes. There doesn't need to be urine involved. There doesn't need.
God,
So this isn't like a cool story anymore. This isn't a fun story
it's a
anymore.
gross story. It's a gross story. The story. Look, now there are a lot of people. Look, again, I'm like you. I'm not very sexually charged, but I'm a bit of a libertine when it comes to, what people want to do. I don't care. Go in your bedroom, close the door, have some fun. Don't hurt each other, right? That's all I care about. But this stuff is almost a bridge too far. And that fetish, the idea, a lot of people have this, James, this whole golden shower fetish where people
I know
are.
him. I have a fairly close friend. Don't want to out him, but he's into that. And you would be amazed at how many girls he gets to go along with it.
This is what I find so absolutely staggering, that apparently women do go along with this stuff. I can only imagine the kind of woman that would allow herself to be demeaned in such a way that another person is urinating on them. I mean, that is a bridge too far.
I don't get that one. Now, I will say I'm not proud of this fact, but 2 times in my single life, in my 20s, when I was here in Dallas, I dated a girl who actually asked me if I was into that because they were into that twice.
You got to break up with that girl, right?
I certainly
apparently
did.
not, because she asked the second time.
No, it's 2 different girls.
Oh, 2 different girls.
Yeah, 2
Okay.
different girls. So yeah, no, absolutely break up immediately. It's like, look, man, I don't get complete when people complain about vanilla sex, because vanilla sex is pretty awesome. Vanilla sex, just regular old missionary sex works for me every damn time. I'm not disappointed. I don't need to get my foot caught in a bear trap in order to get my jollies,
Right. You don't have
And it's like, sometimes I'll flip her over and sometimes we'll try different positions or funny outfits or introduce food or whatever. But this is so far past that it's not helping the case. And like I said, it shouldn't hurt her credibility, but I can't see how normal people sitting in the jury box can find that relatable.
Well, what they do find relatable is her big, giant 8-month pregnant belly. And I don't know. I think that's all it's going to take is a couple people on the jury, and there's a lot of women on this jury. All it's going to take is just one woman to think that this defense team is going a little bit hard on the pregnant woman. And by the way, let's not forget this. She's an actress. Okay. She's a performer. She understands. She wants to be a star. She was on stage strutting around. We've seen her videos. She's a performer. She's not some shrieking violet who's, shy and, I just don't want to be here. She knows she's pregnant. All she's got to do is the minute the defense team starts getting a little rough with her, all she's got to do is, pull some pregnant woman thing. Can you imagine the headlines? No, seriously, pregnant woman has to be removed from the stand because cross-examination was too rough. That is a poison pill for the defense. They are in a difficult position of how they discredit her without coming across like they are picking on a pregnant woman.
Dude, what if she starts having contractions tomorrow?
Right. What if something like that? But even if she fakes it, what if she fakes it? All she's got to do is give the media anything to paint this as this poor pregnant woman. She was on the stand and they made her anxious and she started to get sick and they wouldn't let up. I mean, that could be so damaging to a jury, for a defense to a jury. So, I don't know.
A quick aside here. Sorry to eat in front of your face, but this is leftover pizza from the back 9 where you do trivia. And so when I went a couple weeks ago, I got a little pizza, personal pizza, ate the whole damn thing. When I went yesterday, I got the giant pizza, ate half of it, took the other half home. And now I have like 2 more meals. I had this for lunch and now dinner again. And when you find a pizza you like, you might as well buy the biggest one they have. Anyway,
take it home because pizza gets better the next day. That's always been my thought. Nothing better than warmed over pizza, or not even warmed over pizza. Cold pizza in the morning is fantastic.
Sometimes. I also I have this trick. I don't know if this is just what Hicks do, but if you put a cup of water in the microwave when you reheat it, it doesn't get as chewy.
Oh, really?
I don't know why that works or whatever. Anyway,
hillbilly science.
Yeah. So back to this trial here.
Right.
Cassie's credibility seems to be like, if you're a good lawyer, it'd be something real easy to pick apart. Like, and not because like she's that bad, but you've done this 1,000 times, and there seems to be a whole lot of openings here. She said that P. Diddy raped her at one point. They had broken up. They hadn't seen each other in a while. She was already with the guy that she's now married to, Alex, and they went to dinner in Malibu. And then when he came back to her apartment, she says he raped him on the floor. Well, why is he going back to your apartment? What do you think is going to happen there after? And this is post freak off. This is post all the male prostitutes and all the bodily fluids. And yeah, I feel like, you know, this was supposed to happen as sort of like a closure conversation. And I know just because a woman invites you into her apartment doesn't mean that's consent for intercourse.
No.
But this is 2018. This is after she had gone through like a decade of being with Captain Freakoff. And
right.
So,
and it should also be noted that according to her, this is the last time he raped her. She is charging that he raped her on other occasions. And I'm sorry, I am not here trying to, you know, drag her down, but I consistently have a problem with any woman who stays with a man who has shown who he is, whether it's, you know, I was going out with him for a couple of weeks, you know, the first time he knocked me around, but it was just a one-time thing. And I figured that he wouldn't do it again. You know, that's nonsense. I don't she was in a transactional relationship with this guy. We are acting like this is love, like she wanted to have children and live in Connecticut with him. No, this was transactional. He's a kingmaker. She wanted to be a star, so she had super close access to the guy who makes everyone a star. She put up with things because she believed there was a transactional nature to this, and that if she put up with this, she would be made a star. That's what this is about. I can't get past that.
Yeah, and she even admitted on the stand that they were intimate voluntarily another time after 2018 rape.
When she was with Alex Fine, the man she's married to now.
Yeah.
She
Which
said
I think
that
is
she
really the father right here, the pregnancy thing.
Father of, I would hope so. She's got two kids, and they're both. All right, let's run down what she testified to today in day 2. Okay. She talked about how Diddy apparently ruined her 29th birthday. Now, yesterday we heard about how he tried to kiss her for the first time on her 21st birthday. 8 years later, on her 29th birthday, Sean Diddy Combs ruined Cassie's day by repeatedly pressuring her to have a freak off with him after her party. She says, I told him I wanted to stay out and celebrate with my friends. And in my mind, I didn't want to have the burden of doing a freak off all night. The couple had gone to the Blind Dragon Club in West Hollywood, James, for karaoke with her friends. But Combs pulled her out. Combs pulled me out of the festivities so many times that I just gave up, Cassie told jurors. She said that they left, went home, and had another freak off. Her 29th birthday. That was her testimony today. James, thoughts?
Again, if this happens to you and you go back over and over and over, that's an implied consent. I don't know if legally that holds up in court, but for a normal person, that tells me you're okay with it.
Yes.
You seek it out.
We learned so much, like Cassie did the bookings for the escorts. This wasn't Diddy on his phone in the back of his, Bentley, furiously scrolling through Craigslist or whatever, looking for dudes to have sex with his girlfriend. No, he put it on her. He said, we're having a freak off. We need 6 guys. And then she would go through Craigslist and all that. So on some level, she is choosing the people that she is having sex with. So there must be some, you know what I mean? Like, she's probably picking guys she thinks looks okay or whatever. I think that detail right there hurts her credibility in this whole thing.
Oh, no, absolutely. I just feel like that she is more of a partner in this than a victim.
That's unfortunately what I'm getting through the first 3 days. And also, let me say this.
I'm not comfortable saying that either, because, you know, if we're wrong and, you know, she is the victim, then we're victim blaming or victim shaming or whatever. But I'm really having a hard time processing all this, because this is like not something that if a friend came to me in this situation and told me the story, you know, like I would say, you're a crazy person. You are the one that is keeping this train on the tracks. You could leave at any time.
Again, she put up with all of this because she thought there'd be a big payoff for her. She thought she was going to be Mariah Carey and he was going to be Tommy Mottola, and, you know.
I don't know if in the letter of the law it's consent, but in just regular ontological logic, it is consent.
It seems to be. Okay, also, here's another thing from the trial today. I love this. Now we're having some fun. I said on Monday, I said, I'll tell you, you give me some skeevy sex scandal and you're going to get the Trump name associated with it somehow. Well, did you see this detail? One of her freak-off partners. Did you see this today, James? Cassie claims Trump resort shooter was one of her freak-off partners.
Who's that?
My mind is racing. I'm like, wait, the guy who tried to kill Trump shooting at him through the, remember that guy that they found on the side, right? No, that's not him. No, it's not. It's not the dude on the roof.
No, Ruth, Routh, Ruth.
Oh, is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not him. That's not him. This is another guy. Here, let me pull this story up for you. We can see this guy here. Let's get a picture of him.
The guy on the roof was Crooks. The guy at the golf course that tried to shoot him was Ruth.
All right, now let me show you this guy, James. This was a multiple-time sex partner of Cassie in these freak-offs. He is also a guy who is now in prison. There he is. Look at him. That guy. I mean, come on.
Meanwhile, you're single, bro.
Meanwhile, yeah, that guy. Oh, my goodness. All right, let me tell you a little bit about this fella here. Cassie
is he wearing like the scrubs from my dental hygienist?
Yeah, it looks like that's kind of, maybe he resisted a little. Doesn't that look like the kind of clothes that they make you wear when you resist and your clothes get all torn up?
Right. They just put like a placemat over you.
Says here, a former porn star who engaged in a shootout with cops after storming the lobby of Trump National Golf Club was identified in court by Cassie as someone Diddy allegedly hired for sexual encounters multiple times in Miami. Jonathan Odie, the gentleman we're looking at here, Jonathan Odie was busted in 2018 after he was caught on camera carrying an American flag and raving about President Trump as he barged into the lobby of his golf resort. Boy, James, you work in conservative radio. What is this story? I never heard this story. Is this a thing that happened?
Is he pro-Trump or not? He's got an American flag, but he's shooting up the resort?
Right. And it only says he was ranting about Trump. Is he? I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's find out more. It says his name here. Jonathan Odie was busted in 2018 after he was caught on camera carrying an American flag, raving about President Trump as he barged into the lobby of the golf resort. Now, this is interesting because this I clipped from, I found a link to the story of when this happened, and it was a real story back in 2018. But here's a little nugget from 2018 that Jonathan Odie told police. He told police after being arrested, he claimed that he had been kept as a sex slave by Sean Diddy Combs. Video from his interview with police.
And he said that in 2018?
He said this guy that we are looking at right here, after he lost his nut and shot up the lobby of a Trump hotel or a Trump golf course, he was arrested. And in his interrogation in 2018, he told police, I was held as a hostage by Sean Diddy Combs. And now here we are in 2025, Cassie's name checking him in trial as somebody that she actually had sex with. That is crazy.
Okay. So on that, there was a Puffy bodyguard who I remember back in the day, he had started the Meek Mill rumors. I know you're not much of a hip hop head, but the Meek Mill gay with Puffy rumors have been around for years. And one of the genesis of it is this dude who heard what was going on between Puff Daddy and Meek Mill in another room, and he recorded it, but it was through the door. So there's no video of it, but you hear what, I mean, we're kind of familiar with their voices.
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard that. That was going around viral.
It's terrible, and I don't want to play it, and I don't want to hear that crap ever again. But at the time, you couldn't prove or disprove what the guy was saying, but now in hindsight, that looks like it was real.
James, Cassie also today on the stand, she talked more about the drug use that she claims that she was forced into. Now, this is interesting because, again, on day one of the trial, Daniel Phillip, the first escort who was brought to testify, he admitted in cross-examination from the defense that he had never actually seen Cassie do drugs any of the times that they were engaged in these freak-offs, and that the one time that he saw Cassie doing drugs, or that she was noticeably under the influence, that Sean Combs stepped in and said, no, she's a little fucked up right now. We're not going to do it. So that's got to hurt the prosecution's whole argument and whole belief, they're trying to put out there, that all of these people were plied with drugs and they were making decisions that they wouldn't normally have made. To that end, Cassie talked a little bit about the drugs today on the stand. She said that she developed an on-again, off-again opioid addiction after she started relying on the pills to help her feel numb after taking parts in the freak-offs. On-again, off-again opioid addiction, James. I don't think that's how opioid addictions work. I don't think you can just not be addicted. Oh, this week I'm on my opioid addiction. Next week I'll be off. So again,
it's not the normal case, but I've seen that. I've had enough sketchy friends that I've seen them go through streaks. You go through little holes, and if you're not really having the brain chemistry of an addict, and this is something you are doing to self-medicate, that's when it gets streaky. So I don't think that's necessarily untrue, although it's not the most likely scenario.
She also talked about some of the physical things she had to go through with these long marathon sex sessions. Cassie revealed the physical and emotional toll that partaking in freak-off sex marathons had on her, including causing her to get mouth sores, UTDs, and stomach problems. Cassie said that she got sores on her tongue from the friction of having things shoved in her mouth.
Yeah, because when you talk about, like, what's the longest session that you've ever had of an intimate nature? And most guys could, if you brag, an hour, two. When you're talking like 48 hours,
I was gonna say like 40 minutes, before I'm like, let's get some pizza and watch Sports Center. There's gotta be
down everything, like when you were making out at the party, and then when you were like doing a little foreplay, and then the actual act, and then you want to do another like dessert act on that, or maybe a second act. Totally speaking, maybe 2 hours is stretching it for the normal person, and they're going to like 48 hours. They're going into drug-fueled, no sleep for 48 hours constantly. Yeah, your tongue's going to get sores on it.
Let's see here. She also says the jury saw texts of Diddy telling her to stop taking drugs during sessions because a proper freak-off, in Diddy's estimation, is one, quote, we remember. Oh, how creepy is that? He didn't want her taking drugs because he wanted her to remember the experience, knowing full well that she apparently was not fully down with the experience. What a monster he is psychologically.
Well, Puff Daddy was either born a psychopath or he developed into a psychopath. I think did we talk about this on Monday? Where, you can be just like a regular dude, but when you become like a rock star and you go on tour and there's a new girl every night, and the definition of sociopath, is someone that will see the people in the room and like, how can I use them for the greatest amount of pleasure for me immediately with no consequences thinking about tomorrow. And so you may not be a sociopath or a psychopath when you start, but if you do that every day for years and years and years, you will make yourself into a sociopath because that is your habits. You do something, 32 times, it becomes a habit. So a lot of these guys, I feel like they make themselves into sociopaths, and like the Tiberius reference from Monday.
Another thing I wanted to mention here, that Cassie took the stand. She talked about texts. Now the jury saw text messages from Sean to her. These text messages apparently showed a lot. Basically, they backed up a lot of what she was saying. Cassie texted Sean Diddy Combs that she didn't want to participate in freak-offs anymore, and that her relationship with him was abusive. She's basically texting him. Okay. She said, nothing good. This was Cassie to Diddy. Nothing good comes out of freak offs anymore. You treat me like you're Ike Turner. Cassie text. Cassie explained the message to jurors, saying he put me down a lot. As much as I was built up, I was also put down quite a bit. It was just the sheer embarrassment of it all. All right, so the jury saw a text message that she sent to him back in 2017 saying that, she doesn't want to do it anymore. So there we go. It's on record.
Well, she says that, and then she turns around and comes back to his apartment, or she invites him back to her apartment. So you can say one thing, and if you do another thing, that's not going to win over the jury.
And then another thing I wanted to touch on here, James, we talked about the Kid Cudi situation on Monday when we had Crack with us. Kid Cudi is another performer, entertainer, rapper, and Cassie Ventura apparently started hanging out with Kid Cudi. This made Diddy nuts. And Diddy apparently, in front of Cassie, threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car. He said, I'm going to have his car blown up as a warning, right? Well, Kid Cudi's car blew up. It blew up in the driveway of his house. Here's what Cassie had to say about that. Cassie Ventura testified that a jealous Sean Diddy Combs told her rapper Kid Cudi's car was going to be blown up after she began dating him. This is a quote now. He mentioned when we were out of the country that Scott's car, apparently Scott is Kid Cudi's real name, that Scott's car would be blown up, and he wanted his friends to all see it, Ventura testified today, referring to the Grammy-winning musician's real name, Scott Mescudi. The threats prompted her to immediately stop seeing Cudi, she said. The next time I did see Cudi was during a meeting at the Soho House in New York City with Diddy. When Cudi asked, what about my vehicle? She recalled. What vehicle? Combs responded. And that was the end of the meeting, Ventura said. Ventura told jurors in Manhattan that Cudi walked out of the meeting after that. So apparently they had a meeting after all this nasty stuff, the three of them, probably some deal. And the first thing that Kid Cudi said to Diddy was, what about my car? And then Diddy said, what car? And then Cudi left. So Cassie says he blew it up. It blew up. Diddy's like, what? I didn't do nothing. Thoughts, James? These guys are just gangsters.
Well, they're not even this. Like, gangsters did it for a better purpose, I don't know anything about the gangster lifestyle other than Godfather and Goodfellas and Menace to Society here, but like to what's he supposed to do? She's never supposed to date anyone ever again, or they get their car blown up.
Gangsters don't blow each other's car up because of a chick. Okay, they don't do it because of ego.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it was for a purpose. It was because you screwed him out of a deal, or he didn't let your friend, your godson Vinny in his new movie, so you cut off the horse's head. And so this seems like really petty and dumb reason to blow up a car. And I don't have that.
Unless you're the kind of person like him who walked around for about 20 years thinking he was untouchable. If you have that kind of mindset, then you think you can blow up a dude's car and you'll get away with it.
Well, it's not just untouchable. It's also sort of a narcissist. Like we've already established he's at least sociopath, if not psychopath. I'm leaning towards psychopath after today. After yesterday, I'm leaning towards psychopath. But also there's an element of narcissism in it where the world has to revolve around him. And how dare you go? What do you care if she goes and dates Cudi? Aren't you done with her? Like, isn't she your ex-girlfriend? Don't you have like a billion girls that you could replace her with immediately?
Right.
And so that's another level of psychopathy that I think kind of helps her case. But I mean, the real reason why the jury is going to lock this guy up forever is if in their heart, whether or not they see it in the letter of the law, if they think this guy is too dangerous to be in public again, not if, you don't like what he did or whatever, but the more you can paint this guy as a controlling, narcissistic psychopath monster, now all you have to get in there is some element of illegality. So roofies, drugging people, racketeering, blackmail, threats. because being a freak and being controlling and being psycho isn't necessarily illegal. Now, blowing up a car is illegal, but he's not on trial for blowing up a car.
Oh, no, he is. Arson. Yeah. No, that's one of the charges. That is one of the charges that the feds are bringing.
Oh, that's where that comes from.
So they're trying to prove that.
Okay.
All right, that's about it. Now, tomorrow, Cassie's taking the stand again. This time we expect to have the cross-examination from the defense team. I'm telling you, this is going to be a really, really interesting thing.
It's gonna be awesome.
I don't know how they're going to do it. James, how do people listen to you every day?
Oh, you go to WBAP, whatever you listen to podcast or radio live streaming on. Type in WBAP, look for the James Show. I'm on 2 to 5 live, but there's a podcast that floats around. Look for the James Show or James Parker. You know how to find stuff. Google me.
James
That's
Parker, WBAP Dallas. Of course, I do the rant every day, talk radio for normal people. You can find us at radiomisfits.com, Radio Misfits on YouTube, or Radio Misfits on Facebook. I am Pugs Moran. He is James Parker. You going to be back tomorrow? We'll do one tomorrow?
I think so. And then you need to go to an open mic.
Yeah, we got to start doing that again. All right, everybody. I'm sorry. Well, right now, the Diddy trial takes precedent. James Parker from WBAP. We'll be back tomorrow. Like, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff that you do here on the internet. Thank you to Radio Misfits. I am Pugs Moran. Day 4 of the Diddy trial continues tomorrow. RadioMisfits.com.